What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome to another transfer view to a day at the moment because there's so much going on. There's so much that we need. Today already feels like a bit of a blur. We've already and out of it stuff back ended last night, early this morning. There's a lot to talk about. Frankie de Jong, Benjamin Šeško, we're going to talk about. There's a lot. Owen didn't like the way that I said his name because
No,
basically it means that.
it's
Yeah, but
because
it's
of the
fizzled out now.
yeah,
You
it's
learn
because
it
of
for
the
no reason.
news. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you learn it for no reason, mate. I told you. I told you. There's no point
What? So
even.
the lesson is never try. Never try and
Yes,
expand yourself. Yeah.
yes. Not with
Yeah.
this club when it comes to signings. No. Even Frankie wasted our time
I
all
know.
summer.
I know. I know. I genuinely the amount of time I put into trying to get that right, and I still haven't. And now,
Exactly. De Jong, who cares? Doesn't matter. Probably ain't coming. But we got a lot to talk about. Smash a like on the video, peeps. Subscribe to the channel if you lot are new. Let us know how you're feeling in the community. And just a quick one, as you can see in the sidebar, just there, tactical
look at
view.
that.
Me and Cam. I know, new graphics, leveling up, new show. It's out now as well. Come out about an hour or so ago. So after this, don't leave. Yeah, keep watching this, and then afterwards, go watch that as well. Make sure you guys check that out in your own time as well. Owen, we got to get straight into the Rabiot situation because various credible reports, outlets, journalists, media, whatever, are reporting that a deal has been agreed for Rabiot.
Yeah, so this one's moved quite quickly actually, because this morning you had Ornstein come out saying that Manchester United are looking to pursue a deal for Adrian Rabiot, and they were talking to the player, talking to Juventus about securing a deal. And in the space of a few hours, Sky Sports confirmed what had been reported, I believe, in Italy by Sky Italy, that Manchester United have agreed a deal with Juventus to sign Adrian Rabiot. Personal terms are to be negotiated. So it's a bit similar to, nothing's really similar to the Frankie de Jong deal, but in the sense of a deal's been agreed between the clubs in terms of a fee. Now it's on to personal terms. Now it's on to getting those finer details of the contract sorted. Again, not just Sky Sports are saying this, it's also Fabrizio Romano and Jamie Jackson from The Guardian are saying that Manchester United have reached an agreement with Juventus for Adrian Rabiot for an initial 15 million. But as they mentioned, personal term discussions are at an early stage. Julien Laurens, of course, French-based journalist, says that Rabiot is keen on joining Manchester United. Discussions with his mum and agent, Veronique, have started. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
Because it sounds like, do you know what it sounds like? It sounds like my little cousin, Asher, he's doing sick. He's 9 and he plays at Chelsea. He's in the academy. He signed at Chelsea. And before he signed at Chelsea, there were a lot of negotiations. You know, it was Arsenal in the fray. It was Tottenham. It was a lot of clubs. And they all had to speak to his dad and his mum. And it just feels a bit 9-year-oldish. Like, yeah, he's got to talk to his mum, find out if he comes Man United. Like, obviously it's his agent. I know a lot of players do have, like Rashford, I know, has his brother involved. It just sums us up right now. It just sounds funny. Rabiot and his mum. Sorry, carry on.
Would you have your mum as your agent?
To be fair, she should look out for me. She's got my best interests at heart. I don't know if she knows enough about the club. My mum would be like, well, you know, there were loads. I saw, you know, that one of the games and that there were loads of people in the stadium. Like, there'll be loads of people supporting you. Like, no matter who it is, so just go. Had loads of people there, so it'd probably be a good move because you don't know about football. So
Yeah,
probably not on that side. But if anyone tried to take piss out of me, my mum's on it. Mama Flex is on it.
she'd
So
go into contract negotiations, put the phone down, and they go, "Is what's that on your phone?" You go, "Is that an iPhone phone cover on your Samsung?"
oh yeah, shit. Yeah, my mum. There you go. As long as it gets the job done, it don't matter. That's how you know my mum is. So yeah, there you
Exactly. But to continue, David Ornstein from The Athletic has said, quote, I understand that Adrian Rabiot is a leading target of Manchester United for central midfield. It is not a knee-jerk reaction to yesterday's result. This is something that has been brewing for a long time. These are quite interesting comments, actually, when he's talking about how United have come to this. A lot of people have come to the conclusion yesterday happened and we're just panicking now. He also says, quote, despite the timing of the story, a deal for Rabiot is something Manchester United have been working on for a bit of time. He is among a number of candidates that United have been considering. And this is where it gets really interesting, Flex, because he says, and I quote, I suspect from the sort of noises I've got around the Rabiot situation that Manchester United might look to do this deal additionally to whatever might happen or not with Frankie de Jong. So this might not actually be an alternative. This is, for what David Ornstein, if you believe what David Ornstein is saying, and why wouldn't you? he's basically saying, look, actually, United have been after Rabiot for a while, and irrespective of what happens with De Jong, they might try and get both. I believe before we went live, Dharma Chef was on Sky Sports, and he said the possibility of concluding 2 deals, one for Rabiot and one for De Jong, hasn't been ruled out right now. But do you believe that? Do you believe that could happen? Do you believe there's a scenario where come the end of the transfer window, we've signed both Rabiot and Frankie De Jong?
Nope. And the reason why I don't is because the old
You've
Flex,
been burnt. Yeah.
100%. I'll be honest with you. If you'd have asked me 4 weeks ago, when I was in the space what I was in for emotional purposes and managing the load purposes, I would have said to you that could happen. Don't rule it out. Still early in the window. We're linked to Arnautovic, mate. We're trying to get Marko Arnautovic. So any reasonable doubts, any give the benefit of the doubt, any of that, it's been used. I got to expect the worst now. I mean, I'm now into. I know it's not the last day of the window or the last couple of days, but I remember when we were trying to get Dembele. Remember when at the time when he was injured, it was Dembele because we couldn't get XYZ. Then Palestri came out. Okay. Are we off? Are we offline? Are we out of it a sec? I think we are. Maybe we're not. Are we back? Oh, we'll be right back. Oh, that's good. I thought he was going to go home and get the internet. Yes. We can hear Flex. Sound is okay, but video's gone, but we're back. Ta-da. Right. Gremlins are in the system. Yeah, even like I said, even YouTube's like, boy, you know what? You're linked with these players, mate. I don't even know if I can hold the stream up for you.
YouTube's not buying it. YouTube's not buying it. I've asked you the question. I've gone, look, is there a possibility where we can get Rabiot and Frankie De Jong? And YouTube's just gone, well, cut it there. Cut it off right there, Owen. We don't need to hear a response. We need to hear an answer to what Flex got to say, because no. The answer is no. It's not it's not going to happen. I do want to say though, Flex, now this is quite an interesting thing about Rabiot.
Yes.
Because before we went live, we were talking, and you actually said to me something quite interesting. You went, you know what? I've been so busy today that I don't even know how I feel about this. I'm so frustrated with the result, with the transfer window, with all of the above. I'm just frustrated. I don't even know how I feel about this. Because I've seen some people on social media saying, you know what, actually, considering the performance by McTominay and Fred yesterday, Rabiot, maybe it's not a bad option. Maybe it's not a bad option. But these are quite interesting statistics, and statistics can always be manipulated, guys, depending on whatever you want to say. But per 90 minutes since August of 2021, we've got a bit of a comparison from Rabiot versus McTominay. Passes. Rabiot averages per 90 minutes 42. Scott McTominay has averaged 47. McTominay wins that category. Pass completion percentage. Rabiot, 83% per 90 minutes. Scott McTominay, 85%. McTominay wins that category. Progressive passes. Per 90 minutes, you have Rabiot, which is 2.49, and McTominay, you have 3.62. And progressive carries, you have Rabiot, 4.75, and McTominay, 4.81. So in all of those categories, passes, pass completion, progressive passes, progressive carries per 90 minutes, since August of 2021, McTominay has done better. And to be honest, the fact that he averages McTominay 47 passes per 90 minutes is pretty wild. The fact that that he has progressive passes is just over 3 per 90 minutes. That's crazy, right? And the fact that Rabiot's got a bit less.
Yeah. No, it's mental. It's mental. But, like you said, stats, I'm not going to say they can be deceiving, but that doesn't make good reading, does it? It doesn't make good reading for the type of player that we want, the type of player that we need. And I'm not one for character assassination, especially when I haven't followed a player in depth week in, week out. So I don't want to drop this label at his doorstep. But if you believe what's kind of been said about him becoming a little bit of an issue sometimes in dressing rooms, or his mum, I definitely remember seeing the stuff when France exited the Euros. And his mum being embroiled in something. I saw a video that wasn't great. Look, sometimes starts like you can't write everything off, but I'm certainly not gonna. I'm in the camp of, if he arrives at the football club, all right, cool, but I will have to judge it once I've seen him. I'm not, do you know what I mean? Because I'm not letting the fact that he's coming off this reputation and stuff like that, and I'm thrilled by it, because I'm not, and I don't think anyone is. And if there are, and like you said, not if, there are other people who said, I don't know why everyone's moaning. Actually, he's not actually that bad. Like, we need somebody like that. Fair enough. Maybe people who watch Juventus a lot more, people who watch the French national team a lot more than me, people who have a much more well-informed, form of opinion on Rabiot, because they've watched him in more depth than I have, may say these things. But my thing to them people is, fair play. If he ends up at the football club, obviously any player that turns up in a red shirt, we've got to get behind. But I will just wait to see, because I'm not convinced. I'm not. And I know David Ornstein saying basically, we could have been looking at him for a while. The only way I think this deal could look okay is if we do get De Jong as well. Because if you do get Rabiot and De Jong, you're essentially saying that's two completely different midfielders in our that changes the midfield completely, because that's what we need. We just need new faces. I was thinking about it today when I was driving back from the studio. I'm just sick and tired of seeing the same thing. Like we've been saying this for so long, and I really thought this would be the summer where like that just gets rubbed out. I know we can't get 10 players in, 10 players out. I'm not expecting that. I even when people were saying we can sign 7 or 8, and I was like, no chance. We just won't do it. We just won't do that. Even when I was like, okay, it's probably going to be 4, 5 at absolute push, I was like, but 2 of them have to be centre mids. They just do. Like, do you know what I mean? And I don't know, man. The Rabiot situation, I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. It just smells of all of a sudden, okay, we're not going to get De Jong. Where do we look? And look, to be fair, I was told last week that there are alternatives, and that's the same line that all the journos are going with. Do you know what I mean? That Man United do have other options, ones that they can kind of invoke quickly. This goes into what we've all been told. This here, that there are alternatives to De Jong, that we can get the ball rolling quite quickly. Well, my God, is Rabiot quick? Because I tell you what, when does Man United ever get linked to a player, then within the next few hours it's fee agreed, then it's sorting out personal terms? That never happens. What happens is the Frenkie De Jong, the Martinez, the Anthony. That's what happens. So, yeah.
I mean, also as well, I know Ornstein has said, look, it's not related to what happened, or it's not a knee-jerk decision. He says it's not a knee-jerk reaction to yesterday's result. This is something they've been brewing for a while. I'm not going to dispute what David Ornstein knows. That'd be ridiculous for me to say. But I would say that if you read between the lines there, you could argue that, yes, it's been brewing for a while, but it absolutely could have been expedited by what happened yesterday. I'm sure, as they mentioned, that like Rabiot's been a name they're looking at for a while. They know he's got a year left. They know he's got international experience, play for PSG, play for Juventus. They go, hey, he's not a bad player. And then that happens yesterday, and they go, maybe we speed that deal up a little bit. Maybe we actually go for that one, and then it does become, like you say, I mean, the statistic things with the McTominay, I mean, it's kind of in jest, to be honest, because I'm sure we could pick up 4 other statistics where Rabiot completely poo-poos all over McTominay, right? And you would go, oh, see, he's amazing.
He watches highlight reel or watches YouTube clips and stuff like that. He looks amazing. He looks way better than McTominay.
I mean, I think that
French national team plays quite a bit as well.
Some of the people that might be like really for it might just be like, look, it's just someone different. It's 2 midfielders. It'll be a midfielder that's different, and at least you can kind of latch onto that a little bit, because you kind of, at this point with McTominay and even with Fred, you know what you're going to get. And that was the frustrating thing yesterday, right? Is that we'd seen that performance a few times or several times from both of them. You know what you're going to get. And it shouldn't be a surprise anymore, but somehow it still is. And somehow it is still frustrating. At least with a Rabiot, you'd be like, wow, it's someone different. So international experience. But on the flip side of it, again, and like you said, I don't want to character assassinate anyone of speculation in the media and being a troublemaker or his mum or anything like that. But this is a club that for the last several years has dealt with a dressing room that's been chaotic, fractious, and potentially you're putting him and an Arnautovic, and we'll get onto Arnautovic later on, but and an Arnautovic in that dressing room. I mean, it's just the continuation. The circus is still in town. Maybe that's the biggest disappointment, Flex,
Yeah, exactly. You want to go in a different direction, and it looks like you may be bringing in characters that are, I don't know, I don't want to say problematic, but maybe don't have the best reputation of bringing calm and tranquility to a dressing room.
Or
If
just
that's
his
the best.
mum's, might be a bit of a difficult agent. Where does that lead us? Have we not had that?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. It just, and that's why I think it feels rushed. I did see somebody in the comment section say it does happen. Players need to find a new space, a new team, a new system, a new challenge. Don't be quick. I don't get the Rabiot hate. A lot of people have said that in the quotes and in the comments, and it's important to talk about those people as well, and have their view being given as well. I get that. Like I said, there's going to be a lot more people more well informed on Rabiot than us two. And you could call that ignorance, you could call that lack of football knowledge, or do you know what I mean? And I'm happy to take any one of those. I'll just be honest. If I don't know a lot about a player, I'll never pretend to. So I would just wait to see what it is he can't do. Of course, you can't write off anything. Who's to say that it might not be the bit of the weirdest success story that we've seen, where he came late in the window, where we were like, no chance, this is panicking, and all of a sudden he starts playing well, and we're like, wow, never saw that coming. Football changes very, very quickly. It does. And we're still very angry after yesterday and the links that have come out. But your feelings are your feelings, isn't it? It doesn't mean you don't get to feel how you feel now. Do you know what I mean? And with evidence, I'll change. With evidence, I'll have my mind open to different opinions, with different evidence. But I don't know. To me, it just feels really rushed now. And there we have it. Let's get to the super chats. Hopefully, I got them in order. So they wouldn't be in order yesterday. And again, my thing's moving a little bit mad. I've only got one. Owen, have you got any?
they're on the screen.
Right, good. We got them. Nilo says, from Sesko to Arnautovic and Frankie de Jong to Rabiot again, 2013 and 2020 vibes, total 65 million spent in the summer. We are doomed. That's what I'm saying. You could just label these things. Some of these players, it's like if it was in 2013, 14, yeah, but not now. Ray Carl Brown says, I like this deal. Says he likes this Rabiot deal. If you do like the Rabiot deal as well, in the comments as well, let us know why. Let us know what type of player you understand him to be, why you think he could be good for Manchester United as well. Ridge Richards has just become a member of the UV Members Club, so big up to Ridge. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And CJK Digital says, big up you, man. Yeah, but it's not looking good, bruv. Castillo said it's 100%. It's not looking good, bruv. It's not. It really isn't. I don't know how it's looking, but it certainly ain't looking good. Joe Rahman says Rabiot was ranked Juve's 8th best player last season, had a lower rating than Fred and McTominay, ranked bottom 12% regarding progressive passes in Europe. Well. In the words of Josh, well. Jalapeno 2 says, past stats aside, how about technical ability? Rabiot is probably better. We need players that can control the ball better, that don't panic. So there's a flip side to what Jalapeno is saying. So where he might be in the bottom 12% of whatever we just read there, technically he's better than McTominay. He can control the ball better. His technical ability and understanding is higher than McTominay's, is what Jalapeno is saying there. And Gini is better than him. Exactly. And what Palhinha, what did he go? Fulham, innit? It's just like, I don't know. It's going to split the opinion until this player arrives here, which it looks like there's a high chance he will. And we have a look at him and the dust settles and the window shuts and we see what we're left with. And Ten Hag then works with that.
I mean, also, it is a couple of things. One, with the Rabiot thing, because they were like, oh, United were linked to him in 2019, but then we didn't qualify for the Champions League. So, How many times, because it's happened so much of United's history, in recent history, of we were linked to a player in this year and we signed them eventually like 4 years later when they're older, when they're not necessarily in their prime. Even someone like Ericsson, we signed him now, but how many times did we want him? We wanted him before he went to Spurs. We wanted him when he was at Spurs. And now eventually we got him. But, that's typical. And then, again, I go back to what Ten Hag was saying. It's not about signing players. It's about signing the right players. It does feel like it's turned into it's about signing players as opposed to the right players. And maybe that's because, and I don't blame Ten Hag for that, it must be said, but you blame that again. You have to on the board and those making the transfer decisions, because signing the right players seems to have taken a back seat because we need to sign players in general. We don't have the luxury now of having time on our hands where we can sign the right players. Now it's just about getting people in because we need bodies. And that's a mistake on our part.
100%. Smash a like on the video, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Before we get to the next story, just there's 3 more super chats that I do have in the right order. Nathaniel says, "Can't lie, gents. I'm over it. Rather Verratti than French McTominay." Oh, Verratti. Oh, bloody hell. Of course, mate. It's unbelievable. Of course, I'd rather Verratti. Ray Carl Brown says, "I like this deal because he is a winner and has played at a high level and he can control the ball, something Scott McTominay can't do for 3 seasons now." So fair enough. That's why Ray would prefer to have Rabiot. And Bones16, I think, has just made a contribution but hasn't said anything on my screen. It just has a contribution there. Let me make sure that's right. Yeah. So big up to Bones for the contribution. And Humphrey says, "We attack people that try to force us to do the right thing, like Ranić and Ronaldo, and get surprised when we end up where they warned we were going." Strong words there, saying, should have listened to Ranić, mate. Should have listened.
Some of those Ralph presses, if you watch them now. If you watch them now.
You laughed at me, he'd be saying.
Yeah.
You know? Barca's De Jong ransom, Owen. What on earth is going on here?
This is such a wild story that it's just unbelievable. So David Ornstein, he's had a busy day today, really busy day. He's been all over it. He reported earlier, it was actually this morning, that Barcelona have told Frankie de Jong they want to annul his existing contract and return to the deal he was on before, alleging the terms given to him by the previous board involved, get this, criminality, and provide grounds for legal action against those involved. The letter sent to Frankie de Jong is thought to inform him that Barcelona think they're in the position to initiate criminal proceedings to establish what happened in relation to the signing of his contract and ascertain where responsibility lies. This comes in a letter that was written to de Jong on July 15, claiming to have found evidence of criminal actions on behalf of the parties who signed his renewal. Chelsea have firm interest in de Jong. While they are yet to submit a formal bid, they are prepared to fund a transfer and cover the salary debt. They have the advantage over Manchester United via Champions League football, although it is thought that alone won't determine de Jong's destination. So just for those that may not have seen that story today or may not have heard of that story, essentially the best way that I can describe this as, one, is as a ransom, because what Barcelona are saying to de Jong, they're giving him 2 options. You leave and you go to Manchester United or Chelsea, or 2, you rip up your current contract now and revert to the terms of your previous agreement. And if you decide not to do either of those options, we're threatening you with legal action, possibly even worse, because we believe we have evidence that those that gave you your contract in the past, the previous board, involved criminality and you signed it. Your agents were involved in it. Therefore, you're involved in all of this too. How wild, Flex, is that as an actual story? I said it was going to get nasty between de Jong and Barca. I didn't realize it was going to get like criminal.
Yeah, because there's nasty and there's literally legislation and criminal. I'll be honest, Owen. After that last batch of developments, I think I'm out. Honestly, I think I've surrendered, mate. I think I've given up. Like it just seems like such a mess to be involved with. And again, there's going to be people screaming at their TVs right now, screaming on social media. We said this ages ago, was always going to happen. Idiots. Anyone who believed he was coming, idiots. And you know what? This is the annoying thing about when you try and take a ploy on something. I don't regret it because you have to go with how you feel at the time. You know what I mean? But it's like people will say, well, why are you saying it now? You never said it before. And it's like, well, I never had this information before. Neither did you, to be fair. We always knew there was complexities. At the beginning, it was taking long. Then the things started coming out about his wages. And we was like, yeah, we can see why. Fair enough. 17 million. There's still a month left. Let's let them sort it out. Now there's 2 and a bit weeks left. And then you get that. It's like, yeah. And then the fact that it's free agreed for Rabiot, it means even Man United have gone bloody hell.
Well, exactly. And it's also, like you said, there's different stages to it. But we did keep saying at the time, going, I get that Barca maybe don't have the money or what have you, but they are spending big transfer fees on players. So they kind of do have some money. Why would they not give de Jong what he's owed or figure out a deal to give de Jong what he's owed? Then it can facilitate his exit from the club and then you can get his wages off and you can then possibly register players. Like, it seemed to make too much sense there. And now, given that we find out what we found out today, you realize that the reason they haven't paid De Jong what he's owed is because they believe in their mind's eye, we don't actually owe it to him. That was done on false pretense.
Yeah, it's mad.
We
And all of that
we can
just
get away
sounds
with not giving it to
so
him. It's
messy.
crazy.
Yeah, exactly. We may not have to. The guys that you signed with before were crooks, mate. So that thing you signed isn't actually valid. So when you're saying you're owed this and you're owed that, that's not really a real contract, mate. We're the new guys. We got the ship. We're running the ship now. So that thing you signed with them doesn't really stand anymore. Like, he's in an awful, awful position. I remember Gary Neville tweeting it a few days back, saying that, there should be some legal action against Barca. Like, how can they treat a player like this? And it's
Barca
just
were
an
getting
absolute
ideas.
mess.
They went legal
Yeah.
action. Great idea.
Yeah. We've got some of our own, burning through legal papers, mate, burning through them. And then I tell you what is quite alarming as well is somebody at Sky said to me that Dwight York, they did something with Dwight York, and Dwight York was talking because they played against an Australian team, didn't they? Like an Australian All-Star team. Maps played in that. And he was just talking to De Jong, and apparently he was, on record saying that, yeah, if it was anything, I'd rather go London. Can't see myself going Manchester. Then you get Andy Mitten. Saying, and Andy Mitten is as credible as they come. He's not about clickbait. He's not about, putting out stories for likes and retweets. And he talks what he knows and knows what he talks. Andy Mitten, really good journalist, big United guy. And he was tweeting today saying that he had information, or he was understanding, or however he put it, that De Jong had told two separate people that if he was to leave Barca, he would prefer London and would prefer Chelsea. So it really is messy. It really is messy. And I've never been so, I don't want to say the word sure, but so confident now that he won't come now, personally. How do you feel?
Imagine he stayed. I can't
All
see.
that. I don't know how.
Yeah,
I wouldn't rule it out. It's such a messed up situation.
How does he stay at Barcelona now? Oh yeah, I went back to my old terms. Oh, what? Because you loved them? Because they've been saying this in all of these interviews. Laporte, when he's been going, well, he can stay, but he's got to adhere to this new payment structure. No. You threatened him. Is what you did. You told him, if you don't accept your previous terms, we're going to pursue legal action against you. So think about yourself. Think about your family. Think about your agent. Do you really want to drag them into all of that? You love it here. Of course you love it here, right? You must love it so much that you wouldn't want to hurt your family. What is this, The Godfather?
Blackmail.
Literally, what is this, The Godfather? I'm going to make an offer he can't refuse. All this kind of stuff. It's ridiculous. It really is when you think about it. It's crazy. It's crazy. I read it. I read it earlier when Ornstein tweeted it. It was like a script for Goodfellas. I was like, what? De Jong wakes up tomorrow morning.
Ray Liotta settings.
Yeah, he wakes up tomorrow morning. There's a horse head in his bed with his contract on it. Your old one, mate. You're not going to sign that again. It's wild. It's wild, and he might stay. I know you like it there, but how could you trust any of these people if it was like, I remember, because he played one of the preseason friendly, looked like he didn't have a care in the world. I'd be worried. Well, what if now they force me into a pay cut? What's next? What happens next year when they run out of money again? What happens in a couple of years' time when they've just activated the 10,000th lever and that one this time it don't work? The lever's broken. What do they do then? It's just such a wild club, and the frustrating thing is, for a fact, like in a year's time or in 2 years' time, something will come out where it's like Barca are being investigated for this, or Barca, manipulated this, because everyone knows. Everyone's looking at how can this club that in May had no money, come August, have spent the most money in Europe. They don't go together.
They don't work. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They don't work. Something is dodge, Spanish mafia, whatever, like La Cosa Nostra, like that. That's what it is. That's what's going on, because the way that they're treating players, the way that they're signing players, the way that they're doing the mad tax evasion, do you know what I mean? Getting away with it. I've never seen anything like it. Having said that, it just feels like having to get involved with them, having to negotiate with them, get into bed with them, as they say, with the negotiation stuff. It's like, do we really want to do that? Can we trust them, like, to even do the deal? Like, it just is so messy. And I know if we get the player and the window shuts and then we move forward with the player, you forget about the saga fairly quickly. But my God, I know there's a thing of like we've come so long, we've come so far, see it to the end. That end has got to be near. It's got to be near.
And
I
what
mean,
does
it's
that end
August the
look
8th.
like?
Exactly.
What is
I
that
mean,
end?
the end of just saying, right, cool, we can't do it. We can't.
Because literally,
We can't.
like again, even you say what like get to the end, but all of these twists and turns, nobody thought a couple of days ago it was going to come out criminality involved, annul your contract. No, everyone,
Like, what
the
does that
people.
even mean? Like, it's insane. Like what you say, it's just madness.
It is. It's literally like your contract now. It doesn't exist. It wasn't done properly. It wasn't legal at the time that happened. So it doesn't exist. Go back to your old contract. Could they even do that? Can they just go? You go
That's
back to your old contract. I don't.
back to this one that we gave you.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's just it's crazy. But to your point, do United get what are United thinking? Do United know all of this? They must know some part of it, but also at the same time, even Eric Ten Hag, who wants this player, clearly is driven the pursuit of this player. He wants Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong is his guy. It's our transfer window. It's been based around signing this guy. When they're saying these things to Ten Hag and they're saying about annulling the contract or legal action, what must his response be then? Eh?
Because when he be a free agent, then if that's not, because that's his current deal, no? Is that what they're saying? Is that
I
are
don't
they
know.
saying?
Oh, are
Are
they
they
saying
saying that your
you've got to
current?
sign a new contract,
That's
but
what I'm
it's got to be on
saying.
your?
So
I don't know.
wouldn't he be a free agent then? Like I'm just like I'm so perplexed at basically what they are actually saying versus what they're not. Like it just doesn't add up. It doesn't.
And they wrote
It's
to him.
just,
He's been getting all of these interviews. All of these interviews have been getting. What's been going on? Well, I haven't spoken to anyone. It's a bit weird. Now they know why. Registered post.
yeah. Humphrey says we attack people. Oh, we read that one. Barry White with super chat. We got Barry White.
Yeah.
Start legend. Start of the window. We have. I wonder if that person's name is actually just Barry White by or if they're not actually called that. They just love Barry White, the singer.
Yeah.
Start of the window. We have to replace Mata, Lingard, Pogba, Matic, etc. Approach Rabiot. Oh my God, panic buy. Why? He's 10 times better than what we have, and that's what we've been saying. It's like on one side you say it's panic, on one side you say X, Y, Z, but then on the other side you're like, you know what? He's way better than Fred. He's way better than McTominay. And Barry White is in the comments says that is actually my name. No way.
Brilliant.
It's actually that's brilliant. Your parents have. I'm guessing you're not older than Barry White and you wasn't born before. You could have been. Could have been old. Could be an older subscriber. But
to be fair, now
who
I
had
feel
the
a
name
bit
first?
bad.
You or?
I feel a bit bad now because there's no way that we're the first people to ever do that. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course. He probably gets it all the time at work.
Yeah.
Baz. But it's just I don't know. You have to say it, don't you? You can't just scoot past it. You have to say like, oh wow.
Do you reckon some people will sings like this some Barry White songs to him when they? What's the classics? What's the classic Barry White song?
Darling,
That's it. Yeah.
Can't get enough of your love, babe.
Yeah, and they go, yeah. I know.
Oh, I don't know why. Can't get enough of your love, babe.
Yeah.
Yeah, big Barry White fan. My mum loves Barry White. Big up Barry though. Eric Ten Hag's in the chat. Says, fun fact, Rabiot stats are worse at every aspect when compared to McTominay. That's what we were talking about earlier. Big up Eric. A little bit slow on that, Eric. We've done that already. And Ray Carl Brown says, to be really honest, I don't blame United on de Jong. We never approach Barcelona. We never approached Barcelona for de Jong, and they sold him to us. Now we seeing the truth. That's why I believe United are switching away from him. Fair play. And Humphrey says, what we can agree is he can't or won't stay at Barca. If he accepts, where will it end? There will come for more salary cuts. He's dumb to stay. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get why he would stay or how he stays. Aluni says, apologies if I haven't pronounced that right as well. Man United will never be where we want to be under the Glazers. I can't believe it is August and we are where we are right now. Yep, I hear you there. Big up Dizzy says, would you swap Sancho for Kulusevski here and now? Well, Kulusevski's more effective than Sancho. 1,000,000%. You can't dress it up. Like, forget the name, forget the prowess throughout Europe. In the style and system that they play versus the style and system that we play.
Kulusevski
I'm not saying Kulusevski is a better player.
The Conte player. He is a Conte player. Sancho under Conte, could that work?
Depends how they want to play. But then again, how about this, Owen? How about it's just about attributes and what the players have? Because really, you can say it's just a Conte player, but also most, I was saying, I was talking about this earlier, the wingers in the Premier League, most of them are powerful and quick and just can get past people from zero to, like, Kulusevski's quite a powerful runner. He can get past people. He can come inside as well. And I know people can say it sounds crazy because Sancho's the name brand player in this conversation, but nah, mate, I look at effectiveness and who's more suited to the Premier League / and the systems. In the system that we want to end up having, yes, Sancho, clearly. But mate,
Hey, this is meant to be the season. This is meant to be the season. You know, hopefully it is one game.
Kulusevski's a baller,
but yeah,
he is. He's a very good player, man. He is. I've watched him quite a lot now since he's come there, and he turns up every time. He's a good runner, good passer. And he's doing his thing at Spurs as well. Right, smash a like on the video, peeps. Subscribe if you are new. We're at 383 likes. Let's see if we can get that higher. You know, we're over 2,000 people watching, which we are on most days now. So if we're not pushing the 1,000 likes, if we're not pushing the 750, let's at least get to the 500 as the bare minimum. Benjamin Sheshko, another name that you bothered to learn that you may have to just unlearn and forget, Owen. What we got?
I'm going to say his name properly once. And I think
one last time.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be
one
the last
time
hurrah.
I do it.
Right. Fabrizio Romano tweeted this afternoon an exclusive saying RB Leipzig are closing in on a deal to sign Benjamin Šeško for the summer of 2023. RB Salzburg have rejected the proposal for this summer. Šeško is happy to stay for one more year. Leipzig are now closing on a deal for Šeško to join in 2023. The deal could be done as soon as this week. He's going to sign until 2028, but he'll join Leipzig next summer, staying at Salzburg until, as I mentioned, next 2023, next summer. It was a strange one with this when it got tweeted today, Flex, because obviously we've been linked to Šeško for a while. I say a while, the last few weeks, 2 and a bit weeks, maybe we've been linked to Šeško.
Legitimately as well.
Yeah, legitimately, you know, proper,
not loose links.
No, top tier journalists confirming those stories. But once the news comes out that he's going to Leipzig next summer, it does make you sort of step back and go, oh, how close were we then? Because when someone goes from RB Salzburg to RB Leipzig, it's very much in the family. That's you know what they do.
It's the logical step in
it's the logical, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying United weren't involved, because clearly we were, but it makes you wonder if United maybe had those talks with the agents, had those talks, I don't know, with Salzburg, but certainly those intermediaries, and very quickly found out he's going to Leipzig.
And also, what it shows me is there's that side, which I completely agree with you. You've got A side, and also you've got B side, which is that proves that, like, was he even the answer? Like, this is a player who scored, I think, 9 goals in that league last year, 19 years of age, got a lot of developing to do next, and is actually choosing, you know, I'll stay here another year, develop myself, go up a level into the Bundesliga, RB Leipzig, stay in the family, stay in the infrastructure of what we do here. Take my time. I'm not ready to go to Manchester United yet. I'm not just going to jump because Man United said, this is a young kid who's 19 years of age. Man United have come knocking. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know we're you know, blue in the face of saying it, fed up to blue in the face of saying it, but it's not the old Man United where you can go and knock on anyone's door in the lure of Man United. It doesn't matter what age you are, what stage you are in your career, you're going. We know that's done, but this is a 19-year-old kid who hasn't been mentioned the whole summer, then gets mentioned in a 2-week period, and literally has the actual chance to go to Manchester United. Right now, could go. If he, with all the reports from really good sources, and again, with what the club have been saying to us and other journalists, that it's a player they're aware of, but the valuation remains to be an issue. You know what I mean? They couldn't agree a fee because it's worth too much. You know, this is a kid that if he wanted to force through a move or really put his foot in, could have ended up at Manchester United. And here he is saying, I'd rather take the slow route, mate. Man United's not where I need to be right now.
I'll take the Haaland route, you know?
Take the Haaland route. I've seen it work.
To Germany. Now he's in the Premier League at Man City.
Exactly. Albeit, you know, like Leipzig for Dortmund, but same things. Exactly. Same order. And then now look at Haaland, you know, and this kid's supposed to be, you know, it's hard to compare anyone to Haaland, but you know what I mean? Because it's coming from the same sort of background and the same sort of trajectory. He's Haaland-esque. He's tall. He moves like him. It's at Salzburg already. Do you know what I mean? It's the same sort of thing. So look, you could argue we've dodged a bullet. Maybe. I don't know. You could argue that. Because was this kid ready? Was this the answer? I was never sold on it. I was like, all of a sudden, the internet says that Benjamin Šeško, we need to get him. And I'm not saying Arnautovic is better. I'm not saying both can be right, that they're both not the right fit. Honestly, it's just typical. It's just
But even United reportedly were more than aware that he might not be ready for the Premier League. I think that report was out there saying that, it might have been Rob Dawson that said United have their concerns about, is he ready for the Premier League at the age of 19? And the price tag, is it worth it for a player that possibly might not be able to contribute tons this season? My concern is, and I said this to you at the time, because we both happened to be at the studio at the time, that okay, we didn't get Šeško. Maybe we were never really that close to getting him. Said RB to RB. Okay, that makes sense. But who are we getting then? Who? Because that felt like if we were going to sign a striker this summer, it would be Benjamin Šeško. And I'm so tired. I put it out on Twitter today. I'm so tired of monitoring or shortlisting players all year round, sometimes for a couple of years. They've been on the shortlist for so long, only for us to not get anyone and then get a stopgap or a short-term solution. We're going to talk about Arnautovic in a second, but just look at these names and the ages when we signed them. Zlatan, 2016, he was 34 years of age. Odion Ighalo, 2020, he was 31 years of age, and that was an emergency loan in January. Edison Cavani in 2020, he was 33 years of age. He was a free transfer. Cristiano Ronaldo last year, even though he's the GOAT, one of the best players, if not the best player ever, we signed him when he was 36 years of age. Arnautovic possibly in 2022. He's 33 right now and was even good enough when he was in his peak in the Premier League before. Was he even good enough then, let alone now? Why?
You think West Ham would? You think West Ham would take him back? I remember speaking to Nicky, West Ham fan TV. Big up, Nick.
Yeah,
couldn't wait to see the back of him. Couldn't stand him.
Yeah, well, the way that he forced his move out to China to get the
100%,
money,
it was awful.
And let's face it as well. Even China towards the end, they went, "Oh, don't want him now. Used up. He got his money, so he went to Italy. Went to a mid-table Italian team. Why are we in for him? Why?" And I saw a comment earlier saying, because clearly, again, as all the reports have said, it's a player that Ten Hag knows because he's worked with him in the past. Steve McLaren's worked with him in the past. And when I say the past, I mean the distant past, 15 years ago, FC20 in 2007 to 2010. We're talking, he went on loan to Inter Milan when Jose Mourinho was the manager in 2010. That's how long ago we're talking, right? Because he worked with him then. So suddenly now he's going to be good enough for Manchester United. What are we talking about here? And I understand that Ten Hag would want him. And again, going back to my point about the comment, clearly it's a player Ten Hag wants. And the reports have said that. Ten Hag believes he's a player that can add character to the dressing room, and he thinks he can be a backup option off the bench. And I'm backing the manager. I really am. And I understand get the players that the manager wants. But at the same time, I said it this morning, if you were Ajax and you were saying, "Oh, we're going to sign Arnautovic," you could go, "I'll tell you what, I could see that. Even at 33, could do a job in the Eredivisie, could help out Ajax." We're not Ajax. We're not. This isn't the Eredivisie. It's the Premier League. Arnautovic was decent in the Premier League 3 years ago. Yeah, someone has to say, "I appreciate that, boss. And I know that you think you can get something out of this guy, but make no mistake, you thought you could get something out of some of the players that started yesterday, and we were shit. So let's not even get involved in that." You know what I mean, though?
Oh, I love when this Owen comes out, man. Well, I don't, because it means if this Owen comes out, it means that something bad's it means it's not good. But it does always make me laugh. I can't lie about that.
There's no one saying that at the club. There's no one saying like,
yeah. Well, no, they're not.
I want Steve McLaren. I want Arnautovic, and everyone's going, "Yeah, I know. Yeah." Anyone else?
Yeah. And that's not, and look, again, you don't want to just get into moaning at the manager, it's not about that. Like, we're not on his back like that, but at the same time, what we did say is, yes, support the manager, but you can still question some decisions. Doesn't mean you don't back him. You know what I mean? You can still, I know I was saying a lot of the times, like, well, if the manager wants him, but that only goes so far. Like, if the manager wants Maguire as a captain, we've got to accept it, cool, whatever. If the manager wants to keep getting players from Ajax and Eredivisie, Martinez, and if you got Timber or if you got Anthony, and Terrell Malacia, like, cool, it's what the manager wants. We've got to roll with it. But then when you go, he wants Arnautovic, it's like, manager wants to bring back Steve McLaren. You're like, cool, all right, it's what he wants. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that we are backing him on, and we're just silently, sitting back and letting him do his thing. But come on. It's taking the piss, and it's taking the piss.
And also, like, again, reflecting of the glory days of FC20 when they won the Eredivisie. What was that, like 2009? 13 years ago. Like, you understand how much has changed in 13 years?
Boogie Lip says pass the Hopian on the left-hand side.
Well, this is the problem. This is maybe why I'm so rattled this evening, Flex. Is I'm going through Hopium withdrawals because I've been smoking the Hopium way too much this summer, and now reality bites massively.
Yeah, I mean, and really, that our next bit was, Ten Hag 100% wants an out, which is basically. Sorry, Josh, but yeah, you could probably change that graphic now to that. It's like we've that's what we've been saying about really naturally this whole time. That's the alarming thing about it is that I think Manchester United have tried to justify this deal. They've tried to pacify this deal, briefing the journalists and trying to get that, that fighting spirit. And, he's worked with Ten Hag before and, he knows his character. He's played in the Prem before. And come on, mate. Marko Arnautovic.
Yeah, and just to get to these stories when it comes to Arnautovic, Florian Plettenberg, of course, journalist based in Germany, it's Erik ten Hag 100% wants Marko Arnautovic. Manchester United want to increase their offer, and Arnautovic wants to move. Of course, he wants to move. I can't believe
Hold
it.
on, Owen. 1 second. What'd you go up to for Arnautovic? Because I tell you what, Bologna are doing us a favour by even rejecting.
I mean, yeah, it was
what are we
9
stupid
million.
enough to go up to?
It was 9 million
that's
euros.
9.
Yeah.
So what's that then? What, they're going to go back in 15? What do we go to? What the fuck?
I literally, and I like this one. Gianluca Di Marzio. Manchester United remain confident of signing Marko Arnautovic. Of course. They should be confident because why wouldn't they be confident of signing Arnautovic? No one else is in for him. I understand. Just here we go. Di Marzio again. Manchester United are insisting on Arnautovic and are set to increase their offer in order to find an agreement with Bologna. So at this point, we're actively negotiating as well. Actively, how much do you want? We really want him. It's not cut price. It's how much you want, we'll pay it. For the one player will we decide actually to cough up the money? It's for Marko Arnautovic, not anyone else. Where it's like actually we might be overpaying there. If you're paying more than 9 million euros, you're paying any money for Marko Arnautovic in 2022 to come to Manchester United, you're overpaying. If you pay a penny,
yeah, bro, and that includes signing him on a free and having to pay to give him a contract. It includes that and all. Like, even on a free, I'll be like, what? What do you mean? I swear to you, I know you can't turn your nose up when you need numbers, yeah? So you're like, right, on a free, do you know what? It's free, innit? But a free is never really free. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, you got to pay some, you got to give them big wages or whatever. So Eriksen, if you told me that Eriksen 150 grand a week, yeah, but we didn't pay a signing on fee, we didn't pay a transfer fee for him, but he's on 150 grand a week, that makes Manchester United a better team. In my opinion, that, is something you can start week in, week out, levels us up. No brainer. But Marko Arnautovic is not that. And you know what? Like I said about Rabiot, though, if he arrives at the football club, and I can't even believe I'm saying this because actually, no, do you know what? I'm not saying it. You know why I'm not saying it? I'll say it if he comes. I'll say it if he turns out to be I'm actually sticking by what I'm saying. No fence fleck. No FF. Like, at the end of the day, I don't want him to come to the football club. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's a well thought out target. I don't think it shows we're going in the right direction. If anything, it shows that we're continuing to go backwards. And if he ends up at the football club, I won't be happy about it. And if he does end up here, I will have to readdress my feelings of how I talk about this subject then. But right now, he ain't my player. He ain't our player. So I'm just going to keep it 100 with how I feel about it. I think it's absolutely trash. I think it's disgusting that we're linked with him. And I think it's an insult to us. I think it's an insult to us as fans with how much money's in the club, with how much we invest into going to the club, and we're getting all of these semi-permanent, stopgaps, right from Zlatan through to now, and that's no disrespect to Zlatan. He came, he scored goals, defied the odds. No disrespect to Lukaku, came and scored goals, it went to shit. No disrespect to Odin Igalo, who absolutely lived the dream. When we called upon him, he became somewhat of a cult hero when we needed him. No disrespect to Cavani. Do you know what I mean? Kane got injured, but when he played was all right. But this is taking the piss now. It really is. Really is.
And again, to my point of Ten Hag said, it's not about signing players, it's about signing the right players. You cannot tell me that Adrian Rabiot and Marko Arnautovic in 2022 in this Manchester United rebuild are the right players. He said it's not about signing players, it's about signing the right players. No, this is clearly about signing players. We've come to the conclusion we're light because we are. We're now in the position of there's a few weeks left and we need bodies through the door. Have they got an essence of quality? You know, let's hope. Bring the hopium back out. Let's start smoking that again. Let's hope they can do something for us. And the frustrating thing is, I saw this as well with Arnautovic. Some people are saying, well, actually, you know, it might not necessarily be a bad signing because he'd be content to be on the bench and it's strength in depth. It's an option to have on the bench. The concern is that you know for a fact if Manchester United sign Marko Arnautovic, which again should not be a conversation that we're having, but we are, that will somehow justify not getting a striker this summer. We got Arnautovic. So we're fine there because then they'll go, actually, Ronaldo, Martial, and Arnautovic. Well, three strikers. We're fine. We were stacked in that department. No, we're not. We're not stacked in that department. You know, no, scrap Arnautovic. We shouldn't be signing him. And it's, like we were saying this morning, the fact that you hear these noises of the justification, it's already started. Yeah, I tell you what, he could really add to the dressing room, or he could really be, you know, a positive influence, or he's got that character that we want. No, he doesn't. No. Again, it's not the first time we've been linked to him because I recall it might have been even when he was like throwing the boo-boo at West Ham when he wanted to leave. I believe it then, like 2019, there might have been a conversation of Arnautovic then, and because when he's been in the Prem, like, he's not been all right. He's been okay, hasn't he? But never at any point was I watching him being like, and that's back then, you know, going, oh yeah, he'd be brilliant for Man United, and especially now, like it's like before the game yesterday. KG and myself and DJ, we were watching Premier League years on Sky, and we watched Man United versus Liverpool when we beat them 3-2 at Old Trafford, and Berbatov scored, I think it was a hat-trick, right? And Liverpool had some bizarre players playing for him. Poulsen, Konchesky, you know, a random player that used to be good, Joe Cole, just sort of throw that in there. David and Gog, you know, those kind of players. And you watch it now in retrospect, go, that Liverpool team was rubbish and full of just bizarre signings. That is us. We have this team now that's filled with these players. You go that in 3 or 4 years, you go, oh. And the thing is, we've been doing this for a decade. You go watch like Van Gaal's second season. You go, wow, Schneiderlin and Depay. That's odd. Darmian. Oh, I can't believe it. Oh. But that's what we've been dealing with for like a decade. Yeah, it's those bizarre signings.
Fred didn't. He wants Maguire and he wants this. He wants that. Mourinho, and then it was Dalot, Lee Grant, and Fred, wasn't it? That was that window.
Yeah, or just those people like you said, this like Schneiderlin. Okay, or remember like we were talking about Schweinsteiger. Remember we signed Schweinsteiger for like 2 seasons, and the second season Mourinho he never played. He got forced out. In retrospect, it's bizarre signing. He was never fit. Munich were content to let him go because of his fitness record, and it's just. Oh.
It's just mental. It really, really is. Super chats here. Let me get to the right ones. I've got a lot here. Man United would have Glazer. So we just want something. There you go. So I think it's from Jay. Jay says, as long as McToilet, McTominay doesn't play, and hopefully Fred as well, then I'd take Rabiot. And RK says, so if Eric Ten Hag comes in the pre-game presser and says, yes, I want them, would you guys still back him or say he doesn't know what he's doing? It's a hard question at RK because, like you said, we don't. You can question some things. I would still severely question. I would keep the same energy. RK, I would say, do you know what? Okay, he's co-signed it, and I mean, he never would in the presser because, like he said, I don't talk about players that are at other clubs, so he ain't gonna. But to answer your hypothetical question, RK, do you know what? I'll be honest. I actually would. I would be like, I don't agree with that one, Eric. Don't have to agree with every decision. Like I didn't agree that he made the subs so late.
Yeah, you can back the manager by questioning some of the decisions. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So just like Ajax says, get used to it. Like he makes like subs really late. That's what Eric Ten Hag does. I mean, United fans need to get used to that. Soam says, I loved how Owen said, "Shit, our club is dead." JJ, thanks for the contribution. Big up to you, JJ. Jalapeno says Arnautovic wasn't as bad as you're making him. He had a fighter's attitude. He did. Yeah.
Did.
A nuisance for defenders. Too old now, but in 2018, him over Martial. Look, and that's fine. The last time Arnautovic was at Man United, I remember going to the London Stadium. He scored against us. He scored. Do you know what I mean? Like against the run of play. I remember he scored in his last season for them. Yeah. Always a handful. When he was at Stoke, he was a flipping handful as well. Remember that Arnautovic, the Stoke Arnautovic, solid. What even got him his move there to West Ham. He was at it. But that's when you're talking 18. Do you know what I mean? He's 22 now. You're talking 16, 17, 18. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I don't doubt that. I watched him week in, week out terrorize people, and he was like the Richarlison then. That's what he was. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's a pain in the ass. If he's on your team, you probably like him. If he's not on your team, you think he's an idiot. Like, that's how he was. Do you know what I mean? Gabriel Louis says, United are completely in the quagmire. Glazers out. And Barry White says, guys, for all the football he's going to play, as soon as Martial is back, he's third choice. He's hardly being presented as a striker. We should have depth. And MDD says, we didn't spend in January as the plan was to go big this summer. Always move the goalposts. Time to mobilise to get the Glazers out. Enough is enough. The thoughts. Oh, of course, enough is enough. Gary Neville said, look, if it's time for the Glazers to sell. We've been saying that, been protesting. Do you know what I mean? We've been at it. And they don't care. They're not going to sell this football club. It's too much of an investment for them. It's just too much of a cash cow. They're not going to sell, which is the hard thing. Barry White also says, I'd rather watch an Arnautovic at 9 than a false 9. Again, I agree. I get what you're saying, because at least he's a striker, but it's like, we shouldn't be put in that position. The club shouldn't be putting us in a position where, I agree with you, Barry White, like, it is better than having Eriksen as a 9. Who would you rather have, Arnautovic up front or Christian Eriksen? I get that, but it still, that
But
doesn't make it okay.
Why are we in the position where
Doesn't make it
Arnautovic is
okay.
the only option? They tell me
At
every
Manchester
strikers.
United PLC.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? It just shouldn't happen. But I get what you're saying. And that's the same with the Rabiot situation. Well, everything's worse than McTominay, but I'd rather watch him than McTominay. So Man United was supposed to have the top draw players. And I know we can't get, the elitist of the elite top draw, but we're still supposed to have a certain level of player. And that's just not it. And Humphrey says, if we're looking at Rabiot, then we should have signed 22-year-old Kamara on a free. Sangera is also below 30 mil. He signed a new deal the other day. I'd also support a punt on Sasko. And Scott Keller is the latest member of the United Event Members Review Club, who is a member for 2 months. So big up to Scott, member for 2 months of the United Review Members Club. And who's Gildo Rodriguez? We are linked with him for 20 million euros. He plays for Betis. Yeah, I saw that, Scott. And I only saw one person reporting it, so I did kind of just leave it until I see more on that. Do a little bit more due diligence. But I did see that link, but nothing more on that. Remember, guys, the tactical view is up now as well, so take a look. I saw a few of you guys in the comments while we've been on this show saying that you thought it was fire, thought it was good, which it is brilliant. It is good. Cam really coming to his own and doing his
100%.
thing. That show will be weekly. And Barry White says, guys, name a good striker that is willing the bench, willing to come on the bench, or you mean?
Willing to sit a lot of the time on the bench, I think. Yeah,
sit on the bench. So you're saying it's hard to get someone who knows they're going to play second fiddle. Well, get someone who's going to play third fiddle. Rashford, first fiddle. Rashford's not been that good. Sancho's not lighting it up. Mix it up. Get someone to start.
Get someone better than what you've got that pushes that other person onto the bench and be like, fight for your spot.
100%.
Can't do that.
Exactly. And we laughed at Kante and Richarlison, says Jermaine. Yeah, exactly. And for David Lee says, where's the full view? The full view will be tomorrow at 6 p.m. Ironically, I know we have put it there as Mondays at 6 p.m., which we are going to be able to do, but there was a lot of people who couldn't make it today. And we had to do this show, and we had the tactical view go out as well. So it just made it a bit easier to replace it tomorrow, because KG can't make the Flex and KG show tomorrow, which is Tuesdays at 6 as well, because he's on set shooting. So we are starting to formalize everything, give you guys that thing, where you can come to the channel at certain times on certain days and get certain types of content. You guys have been really patient with that, with why we established ourselves. And I always say, don't skip steps. Everything will come naturally. And I think we've done really well at the 9 a.m. shows. You're going to get that. We've done really well at the Tactical View show. That's just come into it now as well. You're going to get your full view every week. We just have to shift it around because a lot of our games are on Sundays, even though next week's game's on a Saturday. So that's annoying. But there will be little changes here and there as well. And Knowledge Anthony says, we signed in McWee French McTominay. if Rabiot comes as well. Josh said something to me. I didn't quite hear it.
He said that to the members of the UV members club, you will be getting not one, but 2 members videos this week. So that's what you get. You get your exclusive content. You get your badges. You get your emojis. You can put your emojis in the chat right now. And you also get your exclusive members-only content. So keep your eyes peeled.
There it goes. Guys, we'll be back tomorrow morning with another Transfer View live, 9 a.m. You guys know where to find us. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you are new. Thanks for joining us, guys. We are out of here. Peace.